Welcome to Life Happens, where Texans come to protect their legacy and prepare for the second half of life. Join your host, attorney Kim Hegwood with Hegwood Law Group, and our weekly guest as we navigate the challenges that emerge as life happens. Now here's your host, Kim Hegwood.
Good morning and welcome to Life Happens with me, Kim Hegwood, and of course, our very special guest. We've got back again, Shonah Jefferson with Chefs for Seniors. Good morning.
Good morning, Kim. How are you today?
I'm doing good. So today we're going to talk about the mom has dementia. Should I let her eat just whatever she wants? And it's funny that we're doing this because I have a lot of clients that come in and they are well, they're not eating whatever. I'm like, feed them whatever they need to eat. They've got to eat. So now you're going to tell us why I'm wrong. and but I think sometimes that depending on how they are, sometimes any food. But let's talk about what's
Right.
important. Why it's important to get a senior to that has dementia to stay on a healthy diet.
hmm Well, first of all, it's about eating a balanced diet. So making sure that the senior is getting all of the as many of the nutrients as possible from their food. And it's important because um with dementia, they need to make sure they're keeping their body and their brain as healthy and as strong as possible. And we are what we eat. And food is medicine. And so they really, really need to eat a healthy, balanced diet. And when I say a healthy, balanced diet, what I mean is a variety of foods. So fruits, vegetables, lean meats, healthy fats, and low fat dairy, so that they're getting all the nutrients and minerals that they need to keep their brain as healthy as possible. And there have been studies, a couple of studies that I've read that have shown that even eating a healthier diet for someone who's in the early to mid stages of dementia, diet can play a huge role in either helping them to stabilize or stay where they are as far as the progression of the dementia, or even reversing some of the cognitive things that have happened to them. But even if that's not true for everyone, this was a study that was done in Greece, of course, which is very, very high on eating a Mediterranean diet.
Yeah.
But I figure if it works in Greece, it should work anywhere.
Well, you'd like to think that, because they talk about all those different diets and how good they are for you and things like that.
hmm
So that's always good. But we're talking about food, but what about water? Because a lot of times, it's really
hmm
hard to get enough fluids because we see clients that are like, my parents are dehydrated, or they're showing all of a sudden showing signs of dementia, and kind of find out they not getting enough fluids.
Fluids,
So
right?
how do we sneak more in?
So one way is to instead of trying to get that the senior in your life to drink like 1 8-ounce glass of water, and try and get in 8 a day that way. Just have them drink smaller glasses of water more often, throughout the day. So give them a 4-ounce cup of water here and there. Or sneak it in by giving them other foods that have a high water content. So things like fruits, soups, milkshakes and smoothies. So those are other things that the senior can eat or drink that will keep them hydrated.
So for me, I'm very particular about my water, and people will tell you that because I've never been a big water drinker. Um,
hmm
but I found water that I like, so I tend to drink more of it. So that's always
hmm
helpful. And I
Yes.
notice a lot of people will put stuff in their water to flavor it and things like that.
hmm
So does that help as well if just use those non-sweet, the not the sweetened kind, but maybe the unsweetened flavored water? You think that would help as well?
hmm Yes, especially if you can find a flavor that the senior really likes.
Yeah.
So, like if there's a raspberry flavor or lemon or coconut, oh my gosh, they make them in so many different flavors now. Yes, by all means, if you can find a flavor that the senior really likes and that the senior will drink, yes, by all means, sparkling water is a great way to go.
Yeah. So what about you fix their favorite foods, and they're still, not eating. Does it matter, um, as far as presentation, things like that? Does that help?
Mhm. We eat with our eyes. So even those of us who do not have dementia, it's all about how appetizing does the food look? How does it look on the plate? Well, that's even more important for people with dementia. So there are things that we wouldn't ordinarily think of that we do need to think about when we're trying to make sure that that special senior in our life with dementia is eating. So one thing to make sure of is make sure that the food contrasts with the plate. So that means using, oh, if you have darker color foods, use a white plate. If you're feeding them lighter color foods, put that on a darker plate. But then on top of that, have the plate contrast with the placemat on the table. So if you've got a white plate, have darker or brighter colored placemats, and then avoid any sort of placemats or tablecloths with patterns on them because the patterns are distracting to the senior. Because if you think about someone with dementia, the more options or the more choices or the busier something is, the more confused they're going to get, the harder it is for them to make a decision. So then they just won't eat at all because there's just too much going on. So keep it simple. If all they need is a spoon, just put a spoon there next to the bowl. If all they need is a fork, don't give them a fork, a spoon, and a knife. So really keep it simple. And then the other thing that you can do also to even simplify it even more is maybe feed them one dish at a time. So if they're getting confused with three things on the plate, so maybe start with the mashed potatoes. Have them eat all their mashed potatoes. Then once the plate is empty, then maybe add the green beans. Have them eat their green beans. And then at the end, maybe add whatever meat or fish it is that they're eating. So they're focusing on one thing at a time.
Oh, okay. And so, well, what about all the good food they had growing up? You know,
Mhm.
comfort foods. I still every now and then crave a really good chicken fried steak. So with good cream gravy. So knowing how bad it is, for me. Are there healthier versions of our good comfort food that we used to have, and can you still make them taste good?
Yes, yes, we can. So I'll start with your example, the chicken fried steak. So, one way to approach that is to choose a leaner cut of veal, something that's fairly lean, and then use some almond flour and coat it in almond flour, and then you can pan fry it and saute it in some olive oil, which is a healthy fat. And then you can make what I call a pseudo cream gravy, actually using a low sodium chicken or beef broth. And then you can add some fat free half and half. Or if we're really trying to go without dairy, you can go with an almond milk or an oat milk. And so you're still going to get that creamy look, that creamy consistency, and you're going to get that texture of the chicken fried steak. And we're using veal, which is a leaner cut of meat. So that's a way to still get the chicken fried steak, but a healthier way of doing it.
Good job. And so,
Yeah.
and but what about those parents that just want to eat, junk, chocolate, ice cream, candy? So,
Yes, and that is hard for any senior because as we age, our taste buds change. So even seniors without dementia, the sweet tooth taste bud is the last taste bud to go. So even if everything else tastes different, a lot of times sweet still tastes the same. So that's why you see a lot of seniors with sweet tooth. And the same is going to be true for or more so true for seniors with dementia. And so one way some of the things you can substitute is fruit, of course, is always a great healthy go-to. And even making popsicles out of pureed fruits. That's another option to go, especially in the summertime. Or you can still make they can still eat baked goods, but maybe sweeten those baked goods with fruit juice or applesauce or bananas. So the sugar or the sweetness that they're tasting is not coming from processed sugar. It's coming from the natural sugar found in those fruits.
Wow, that's good advice. I didn't even think about that. And so,
Hmm.
most definitely. And so, well, you know what? This has been great. So good. And especially because now I can make the chicken fried steak better. And so, real quick, Shauna, tell us how to get a hold of you.
Okay, you can get a hold of me at 832-956-1848, or you can email me at shauna@chefsforseniors.com, or you can find me on the web at chefsforseniors.com/north-southeast-Houston.
Perfect. All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Kim. Have a great day.
You as well.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Life Happens with Kim Hegwood. Be sure to tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. wherever you listen to your podcast as we navigate through the challenges that emerge as life happens. The content of this podcast does not establish an attorney-client relationship or constitute attorney-client privilege, legal, medical, financial, or any other professional advice.